Good morning, Group 3. Today we're going to be working on Lesson 19 problem set. So make sure your book is open to that page. And if you look at number 1A, it says to use the discs to fill in the blanks in the equations. So today what we're working with is using place value to multiply by 10. And I think you'll find that this will come pretty quickly when you see the kind of the secret trick. So if you look at letter A, you're looking at a group of discs. It's an array that's made up of discs of the unit place value, or each disc is valued at 1. So when you look at the multiplication sentence that goes with that, it's 4 groups, right? 4 rows. All of them have 3 ones in them. So 4 times 3 ones gives us how many ones? So if you count those up, or skip count by 3, or multiply 4 times 3, you get 12 ones. At the same time, if we turn that into a multiplication problem, we've got 4 times 3. The 3 ones is just the same as saying 3. So we say that's also equal to 12. Now if you look at letter B, you'll notice a difference in the place value discs. You can see that each one of those is worth 10. So now our number sentence becomes 4 groups, because we have 4 rows, but this time we're multiplying by 3 tens. So they're asking how many tens do we have? Not what the value is, but how many tens? Well, if we skip count those, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12 tens. Okay? But if we turn that into a multiplication problem with the standard form, meaning we turn the 3 tens, which is unit form, into 30, that's what 3 tens is equal to, we get 4 times 30. So what is that equal to? Well, you can count that up if you skip count 10, 20, 30, or maybe you can do 30, 60, 90, 100, 110, 120 is our answer for that part. Okay? So you can see the difference if you look at letter A and B together. We're talking about 12 of the units, both on the first lines, but on the bottom, in the standard form, since letter A is talking about ones, we only have 12. Letter B, we have 120 because we're talking about tens. So let's look at another example. You can kind of see where we're going with this little trick I mentioned before. So number 2 says use the chart to complete the blanks in the equations. All right, so this is a place value chart where we've got all the discs in the ones place. So we're working with ones. Okay, so our number sentence is 2 rows times 4 ones, and each row gives us how many ones? And you probably know that right away. That's 8 ones. So 2 times 4 is 8. Flip to part B, now all those place value discs are in the tens place. So we're looking at 2 groups of 4 tens. How many tens do we have? Well, 4, 8. We have 8 tens. We're just counting the number of discs in that type of question. But when we turn it into standard form, we're looking at 2 times 40. So what would 2 times 40 be? Well, you can count them all up by tens. This is 40, 80. And you may be starting to see a pattern. So when I say you're seeing a pattern, look at this letter B, look at this letter B, and then let's do C and D and see if you see a pattern with D. So letter C, we're back to our ones. We have 3 rows of 5 ones, which gives us 15 ones, or 3 times 5 is 15. Part D, we've got them in the tens place. So now we've got 3 times 5 tens for a total of 15 tens. So what is 3 times 50? See if you can look at these other examples and figure out what your answer is going to be. If you came up with 150, you would be right. And, oops, here's the little magic trick that I mentioned before. What would happen if you covered up this 0 with your finger? What fact are you looking at? Oh, 3 times 5. Well, hey, I know that. That's a basic fact. That's 15. But since our problem wasn't 3 times 5, it was 3 times 50, we can take that 0 and just put it at the end of our answer to the basic fact part. Okay? So if you do that back on problem B, you're looking at 2 times 4 is 8. Put the 0 on the end. 80. Sort of a shortcut way to solve problems with 10. That's why we love the number 10 and the 0. All right, let's go to the back. Letter, excuse me, E is 4 times 5 ones. So how many ones do we have? 4 times 5 is 20, so we have 20 ones. 4 times 5 is 20 again. You'll see when you're working with ones, both your answers are the same. But now if we go to letter F, we've got 4 times 5 tens. Well, we still have 20. This time they're tens. But 5 tens, if we show it in standard form, is 50. So 4 times 50 is, okay, well, let's try that trick. What's 4 times 5? We said that was 20. So if we just put that 0 on the end, we get 200 as our answer. And that should be a 0, not a 6. All right? All right, getting to the end here. Number 3 says to fill in the blanks to make the equations 2. So we're looking for the answer to 7 times 2. Go ahead and fill that in. I'm going to put this on pause for a second, and then we'll come back and check our answers. Do letters A, B, C, and D. Okay, so hopefully you did the first 4 problems. You should have gotten 14 for 7 times 2, and also 14 for 7 tens times 2, because it's all in unit form. So we wouldn't say that this is equal to 140 just because it's tens. They're asking us how many tens, just like they were up in the first line in letter F. 8 times 3 is 24. And 8 tens times 3 is also 24, but it's 24 tens. All right, so then on letter E, let's try that trick. What is 6 times 5? I'm pretending that 0 isn't even there. 6 times 5 is 30. So if I put that extra 0 on the end, I know the answer to 60 times 5, which is 300. Same idea here. 4 times 8 is 32. Put that 0 at the end, we get 320. 7 times 4 is 28 with a 0. And 5 times 8 is 40 with a 0 at the end. So you may be thinking to yourself, oh, this is so easy, but be careful. A lot of third graders commonly leave off that 0 even though they know it goes there, and they would make the answer to letter G, for example, 28, which we know is not possible when you're multiplying by 40. Okay? All right, last one, word problem. A bus can carry 40 passengers. How many passengers can 6 buses carry? Model with a tape diagram. All right, I'll draw my type diagram. I'm also going to start my word sentence because I'm trying to remember that. So the question says, how many passengers can 6 buses carry? 6 buses can carry blank passengers. I'm out of room, so I'm going to have to abbreviate that. So I know there are 6 buses. Those are my groups. They're carrying all the people. Okay. All right, this is going to get a little messy because I ran out of space. 6 buses is how I would label that. A bus. That letter A also means each. So each bus can carry 40 passengers. That means each one of these is going to be 40. Okay. And it's up to you if you want to label every single unit. If you label it up here, that's enough. But it's up to you if you want to add that. So in order to figure that out, we have the size of the group and the number of groups. So that's a multiplication sentence. 6 groups times 40 equals P for passengers. So if we solve that, P equals 6 times 4, or 24, and put that 0 at the end. So our answer is 240 passengers. All right, so this lesson is all about multiplying by 10. And even though it's easy to skip count by 10, there is a little secret here where if you forget about that one factor that has the multiple of 10, kind of cover up that 0 and create a basic fact out of it, that answer with the 0 at the end can help you get your answer more quickly than skip counting by tens. All right, have fun doing your homework.